Hi everyone and welcome back. I am so happy to be back today because this video is going to be all about wedding planning and I'm going to answer all your questions. So I asked you guys a couple of days ago on social media to send me all your questions regarding my wedding, so I'm going to answer those today. So a little bit of a backstory before we get started. My boyfriend Hono and I got engaged in May 2014. It was a complete surprise for me. I didn't expect it at all. I was very shocked and obviously very happy. So we got engaged in May 2014. We celebrated with our best friends in September of that year just because everyone was away on holidays and we just wanted to make sure that we had everyone. So we did an engagement party with our friends in September, and a week or so later on we did the same with the family as well because everybody was away. So it was a great time and we didn't really start brainstorming ideas or planning until 2015. The only thing that we knew is that we wanted to get married in 2016 so that we had time to enjoy being engaged and we had plenty of time to plan the wedding. So when it came to the actual brainstorming and planning, we realized that we wanted to get married in our countryside house, which is only about 50-60 kilometers away from Brussels, but it's a completely different atmosphere and decor. It's right in the middle of the countryside. It's a beautiful old farm. It's surrounded by greens. So I started looking at church in the area and caterers and stuff like that. But to be honest with you, we didn't really we always kept pushing that away. We finally had our contractor come in at I would say maybe September 2015, so not too long ago, just to see what we needed to get done, because honestly I kept pushing the planning process back because it was overwhelming. It really was, because although I had the church, I found it in the summer, everything was just so much work. We needed to do a bit of renovation in the barn because it needed it basically. We needed to sort of parking issues. We needed to rent tables and chairs and everything. It was just overwhelming to think about everything that I had to do. So we had our contractor come in and then we realized that it would cost an absolute fortune to renovate that barn and to think about renting stuff and everything. So we decided to look into tents to put either in the center of the house, because there's this how do you call that, a yard, but we also have a garden. So we thought about that, but it was nearly the same price as renovating the barn. So we completely dropped the idea and we decided that it was impossible to do it there because we were in December and yeah, it was just not doable. It was freaking me out to a point that I nearly canceled the wedding, just because, not cancelled in a way that I didn't want to get married anymore. I just said, you know what, let's do that in 2 years because we're not gonna make it. So we thought about that, but we decided that no, we really wanted to do it in 2016 just because it feels right. So we ended up in December having blocked our wedding date in June, and we only had a photographer. That's the only thing that we had. That's actually the first thing that we booked, because the photographer that we chose has been doing a wedding that we went to and we absolutely loved the photos. So we basically stole the photographer, but he's just amazing. So we had a wedding date, we had a photographer, we had told everyone because a lot of couples are getting married this year. So we were in December and we had nothing and nowhere to go for that wedding. So we started looking at places and everything was booked, obviously, because we were 6 months up to the wedding date. So we looked at everything, nothing fits. We got proposition to do that on a Sunday or on a Friday, but it was just not doable for us. So we finally found a beautiful castle just outside of Brussels. It's very easy access. And we visited the place and that was it. It was a perfect one. They had our date still available, so we booked it. As soon as we saw it, we booked it. So that's how we basically start planning the wedding. So everything started, I would say, at the end of December, early January. I went to London to get my dress. We sampled the menu. We decided on decor and tables and stuff, and we started drafting the guest list. So that's when we really started the wedding planning process. So I thought it would be interesting to share that with you. And if you're a bride-to-be, don't make the same mistake as I did and start planning your wedding just a little bit in advance. Some things are better left at the last minute, kind of. But really, my wedding dress had to be rushed because I was so scared that I wasn't gonna get it. I was very naive. I didn't think that it would take up to 6 months to get your wedding dress, and just, you know, gather information, call your vendors, and just check so that you don't end up being stressful. So now let's move on to the fun part, which is answering all of your questions. I have all of these on my phone, so let's get started. So one of you asked, I was wondering, how long were you together before you proposed? Have you always been together, and when is the big day? So when Renaud proposed, we had been together for 5 years. We met in May 2009 and he proposed in May 2014, so that makes 5 years. And actually we're gonna have 2 wedding days because we need to get married at the city hall before we can get married in church. That's the law in Belgium. So we're gonna have our city hall wedding on May 21st, which is actually going to be our 7th anniversary. Day to date, it's exactly that, so it's pretty romantic, although we didn't realize until we signed the paper. We were like, wait a minute, that's gonna be our 7th anniversary. So that's pretty cute and really cheesy and really romantic. And then we're gonna have the big party and the church wedding. It's gonna be in June. It's gonna be on the 18th. So I'm very excited, and I'm crossing all my fingers that it's not gonna be rainy on either of these days because we live in Brussels, in Belgium, and you're never sure about anything. So another of you wanted to know if I feel stressed about the D-Day and how did I organize to do everything. So for a long time, before I even got engaged, before I even met Renaud actually, I always thought that I would be a bridezilla. I would want to be in charge of everything. I kind of knew what I wanted for a dress, for shoes. I knew I wanted a wedding planner, but as soon as I got engaged, I just reevaluated everything because I didn't want the same dress anymore. I didn't want the same shoes. Actually, funny story, I really wanted to get married in huge Christian Louboutin blue suede pumps. I was probably 17 or 18 at the time, and my tastes have completely changed and I don't want that anymore. So it's kind of the same story with the dress and with everything. So before, when we were thinking that we're gonna do that in our countryside house, I didn't want to have a wedding planner just because I didn't feel like I needed one. At some point I thought about getting one, but then I just realized that I could do everything by myself. But then we realized that we were going to move the wedding to another location, and basically the space, that the castle that we rented has that caterer service. They have staff working there. They have pretty much everything. So we didn't really need a wedding planner anymore because we had nearly everything planned for us already. It's kind of like a package stuff, so it was pretty good. So do I feel stressed about my wedding? Yes, absolutely. Thankfully, it's not all the time. It's kind of up and downs, and I feel like Renaud feels the same as well. One of the most stressful thing was watching one of our family wedding video, because that was back in end of January, I think, and I realized that we were so behind on everything. Like, I didn't have my bridesmaids dresses, I didn't have our wedding bands, we didn't have like hairdresser, makeup artist, we didn't have anything apart from the location and the dress. So that was a bit stressful. I just came back from London and I brought back my wedding dress, so that was stressful as well. I got my wedding shoes, my brand new wedding shoes, stolen from my hotel room when I was in London. So the last day in London was absolutely terrible because I had to run across town to get copies of all my receipts. I had to go to 2 different stores to get the same wedding shoes because all the alterations on my dress had to be made with these shoes in consideration. So I had to buy the same pair, and I love them. So that was stressful. Thankfully, the hotel was great afterwards about it, and they refunded me my money. So that's pretty good, but it was very stressful. Right now I feel stressed about little things because we still have a couple of things to work out, like flower arrangement, the playlist, stuff like that. So that's kind of freaking me out. On the day, I feel like I will be very, very stressed beforehand. And I think that within 1 hour of the wedding, I'll be just happy and hopefully enjoying it. I'm trying to convince myself to not look too much into details, because I know that if I do, I'll spot something that's not exactly how I pictured it, and I just want to enjoy the day, so I'll do my best. So Emma asked on Twitter, are you following the traditional something blue, etc., and do you have a theme? So we're not following the something blue tradition thing because we are Belgian, both of our family are Belgians, and that's not really a Belgian tradition, so I'm not following that. That being said, our wedding is kind of a mix between American / British and Belgian, because I have bridesmaids and they are my best friends, so that's pretty uncommon in Belgium. Usually we have little children, little girls as bridesmaids. We don't have any flower girls or boys. We have my boyfriend's niece to bring up the wedding bands, but that's about it. So yeah, I'm not following the something blue tradition. And then, do we have a theme? We don't really have a theme per se. We have a color theme, so it's gonna be a lot of white, a lot of light pink, a little bit of peach, a little bit of beautiful soft green, and soft gold, very light gold as well. So that's what we're following, but we don't really have a theme, like it's not a 20s wedding, it's not anything like that. So yeah, and my bridesmaids are wearing all the same dresses, and it's light pink. It's absolutely beautiful, and they all look incredible in it. So one of you also wanted to know, why did I get my dress in London? Where is it from? And what kind of shoes I went for? So I needed 2 wedding dresses, one for the city hall wedding and one for the religious wedding. For the religious wedding, I went to London, and originally I wanted to go to Pronovias to check out the Elisa for Pronovias collection. Sadly, I didn't like the collection. I felt like it wasn't my style, so I ended up having a little bit of a panic attack in London, just searching for wedding places and stuff like that. So I ended up wanting to go to Jenny Packham. Sadly, as we arrived in front of the showroom, like the boutique, the bridal boutique, it was closed for renovation up until the date that we were living in London. So I checked my little paper. We went to Veravoine, which was my very first choice. Like when I was a teenager, I always dreamt of being married in Veravoine. I looked at all the dresses, but nothing caught my eye, because one thing that I knew for sure at this point was that I didn't want to have a strapless dress, just because I don't think it suits me, I don't find it comfortable, I don't want to be pulling my dress the whole day. I wanted something that would look like me and that I would feel very confident and comfortable in it, because I'm gonna spend like the whole day in that dress. So we went there. It was very disappointing, and remember, it was cold, it was in January, it was pouring rain, it was just a little bit of a nightmare really. So we finally ended up going to Alice Temperley, and they had the most beautiful dresses. I remember the girl opened the door to the bridal suite, and I was just like, this is it, I love everything. And I tried on probably 10 to 15 dresses, and I ended up going with my first choice. It was the first dress that I dismissed, but I ended up going with that one because it's very much like me. I tried on another one that I really liked. It was beautiful, but it was way too much for me. We needed to do quite a bit of alterations on it because I didn't like the way it was cut on the top half. It was just too much. It had a lot of rhinestones. Don't get me wrong, it was beautiful, but with the kind of wedding that we were going for, it would have been too much. So I finally went for the first one, and I actually tried on the same one as Millie McIntosh. I didn't realize that until like a month ago. I really liked that one, but it didn't suit my body shape at all. So although it looked great on her, it wasn't for me. So I got my wedding dress, and actually my mom found her dress at the same boutique, so it was nice. Why did I decided to go to, oh yeah, and for the the city hall wedding, I ordered my dress on Net-a-Porter because I just was browsing and I fell in love with it. It arrived, it's beautiful and it's perfect. So yeah. Why did I decided to go to London? Because I had a look at a couple of bridal designers over here in Belgium, and although they do have some beautiful stuff, it wasn't my style. I didn't find anything that I 100% liked, so I decided to go to London basically. And as for my wedding shoes, I went for Jimmy Choos. They are so beautiful. They have a very low kitten heels. They're gold and pink glitter, so I didn't went for anything white or nude just because I wanted something comfortable but something that I could wear times and times over again, and these are just perfect. So I'm gonna wear them to both of the wedding days and I cannot wait. One of you wanted to know if I would share any bridal advice on my blog. I am going to for sure. I just want to wait until the wedding is over so I can give you very good advice. I could have gone through the day, I can share my experience, my tips with you, and honestly right now my life is just so packed. I'm so busy between work and the wedding planning. That's something that they don't tell you. It takes a while to plan a wedding and it's not always the nicest thing. You have to think about budget, you have to think about a lot of things. So between that and all the stuff that we have to do, I'm just completely drowning in stuff to do. So that's gonna be for after the wedding. And yeah, I hope you'll enjoy it. And if you have any specific requests, make sure to put that in the comments down below. And finally, one of you wanted to know where we're going for our honeymoon. So we really want to go to Japan, although it seems that the good period to go to Japan is during spring. So we're thinking about going there next year, so in spring 2017. Renaud and I have been dreaming of going to Japan for years, if not decades now. We really want to have a little tour, so we want to go for maybe 3 to 4 weeks to go to Tokyo, Kyoto, like the countryside. We just want to experience it all. So that's saved for 2017, but this year we're doing a mini honeymoon, which is not a mini honeymoon by any means, but we are going to Las Vegas, Bryce Canyon, Grand Canyon, Monument Valley, then back to Las Vegas, and then we have a layover for one night in Chicago, which you know we both love. So we're leaving in September and I cannot wait. I've never been to Las Vegas. I've been dreaming my whole life of going. I'm so excited, and yes, I'm very looking forward to that. And actually, I might already have done my Sephora wish list just to make sure that I don't forget anything. So that's gonna be it for today's video. That being said, if you have any other questions about my wedding, if there's anything you would like to know, feel free to ask in the comments down below. And thank you for everyone who sent me your questions. And yeah, I guess I'll see you next time. Take care everyone, bye!